Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock channel, where megalithic fans can see things from a different perspective. You may have visited Indonesia, but yet do not know about this temple. That's because it is severely underpromoted. Prambanan Temple is the largest Hindu temple in Indonesia. Approximately 1200 years ago, the dynasties of Indonesia were Hindus. In central Java, the activities of building megalithic Hindu temples were on overdrive. According to mainstream history, the Buddhist Sailendra dynasty and Hindu Sanjaya dynasty were great megalithic builders. The glories of Mataram kingdom under Sanjaya dynasty can be reflected in this Prambanan temple. Prambanan Temple is very near to Mount Merapi and well exposed to natural disaster such as earthquakes and volcano eruptions. Prambanan Temple has an inner zone which is the Holy of Holies. It is the most sacred part of the entire temple. The middle zone is where you get to see 240 temples. They are piles of stones in a pyramidal shape with a door. Most of them are in ruins. The outer zone is a rectangular perimeter about 390 meters on each side. There is hardly anything to see here. No one knows why the outer zone is laid in an odd angle. The purpose of this huge zone remains a mystery. The remnants of the wall are barely much to see. The Trimurti temples consist of Vishnu in the north and Brahma in the south and Shiva in the middle. Garuda, Nandi and Hamsa are their Vahana temples. This formation is somewhat strange to me because I noticed there is a similarity in other parts of the world. The main structure has three smaller structures is something that intrigues me. What are the odds that the Temple of the Feathered Serpent at Teotihuacan in Mexico also has this arrangement? A pyramid with three small pyramids might be a coincidence in Mexico. At Giza, Menkauri's pyramid has this arrangement too. It is silly to call this small structure as Queen's Pyramid because the Queen already has a so-called Queen's Chamber. Even Khufu's pyramid has that structure formation. I don't know what it is all about, but it is definitely worth looking into it for future comparisons. Do you think this design is a coincidence or there is a grand design that we will never be able to understand, especially when we look at them as tombs and temples? It is believed that Rakai Pikatan built this temple 1200 years ago. Some historians say Rakai Pikatan started the construction, but King Lokapala completed and inaugurated it. At 47 meters tall, with a base 34 meters long on each side, this Hindu temple stood as the tallest and largest temple in ancient Java. It is an amazing sight to see from a distance. This site is extremely mysterious to me. Archaeologists are still wondering how can a civilization so advanced disappear from local history with their ancestral knowledge in less than 100 years. The first European credited to rediscovering this site in 1733 was Cornelis Anthony Lons. At this time, he simply described it as Brahmin temple that resembles a mountain of stones. The local villagers knew it was there all along, but they told the Europeans their ancestors didn't build it, and they don't know who built it. Since the locals said they didn't know who and how to build this, the burden to prove is on the archaeologists who said the locals did it. I think they have to first prove the 1 million chisels forged to hammer them out of the bedrock. At 47 meters tall, how can a structure like this be lost in history where Western civilization came to know through local villagers, where even local Hindus never seem to bother to use them again? The main temple, which is Shiva temple, has a main shaft also called Pripi. that goes 5.7 meters deep. At the bottom of the shaft is a cascade. If this is just a pile of stones in pyramid shape, mainstream would have called this a tomb. For such complex projects that requires millions of chisels, no one knows why they need to dig a shaft into the ground and place a stone box. If this is so important, Buddhists and Hindus will definitely still be digging into the ground and putting a stone box simply for the sake of tradition, even if they don't know why. Here is a simple comparison between Prambanan Temple and Notre Dame in Paris. All the temples in Prambanan are solid blocks of polygonal stones and therefore will require more manpower and more stones. If Notre Dame Cathedral took 182 years to build, I am pretty sure Prambanan Temple will take a whole lot more. According to historians, villagers who built Prambanan and all the Buddhists disappeared without a trace in less than 100 years. This is hard to believe when the history is only 1,200 years old. Instead of locals telling Europeans what happened in Prambanan, it is the Europeans who teach the Javanese what happened in the past. The Javanese of Mataram era didn't go anywhere because there isn't anywhere for them to disappear to anyway. Java is a small island. You can run, but you cannot hide. However, the locals have a very interesting legend that comes with the temple. It is a very interesting legend called Rara Jongrang. You can find this fascinating tale all over the internet. The legend has it that the entire temple was built in one day, and the princess was turned to stone. This reminds me of females turning to rocks seem to be a common theme in a legend. Biblical story of Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. Celestial female in Guam turned into a rock. Is that a coincidence? Is this a lesson on petrification by an unknown race who came before us? With these three rock stars, I think we have a rock-solid reason to revisit the legend from another perspective. I am not sure how our human mind can accept what is myth, what is legend, or what is a true story, but I believe our collective consciousness will change over time. Whatever rock story you believe in, you will be blown away by the fact that a huge boulder was turned into a bull Nandi. However, there is another thing that is equally astounding. The polygonal masonry with no mortar that prove it was done by a civilization we are not familiar with should be a reminder that we should keep thinking about the origin. When you visit this site, don't forget to stay until night because this site is meant for you to see the magnificent structure standing majestically against the night sky. Well, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the short presentation on Prambanan Temple in Indonesia and see you next time. Sekian, terima kasih.